Welcome to the I Work For Me podcast. I'm Melina Lewis, an author, marketer, yoga teacher, and mom, and I'm passionate about people who have created their own business opportunities and who love the freedom of working for themselves. Welcome to 2021. It's taken me most of January to come to terms with this year. I don't know about you, but it all seems a little surreal. I know many people were hoping for something better this year, and maybe finding themselves slightly disappointed with how things currently are. Have faith. Everything changes, which I think is something we were forced to learn rather quickly last year. The lag effect of all that change is now with us, and we're trying to make sense of our new reality. I had towards the end of last year considered stopping the I Work For Me podcast, as I thought we were now all done and everybody had once again found their footing, and so why would they need further inspiration to start their own business or side hustle? A friend, unbeknownst to her, actually made me realize that the podcast wasn't at an end. In fact, I really feel we've barely begun. Not only are there so many amazing people to interview and learn from, but things are not our old norm, and we need to draw on others for inspiration and ideas so that we can keep an open mind to the possibilities that exist in the world and ourselves. I'm going to be working on sharing some news about me at the beginning of each podcast and where I'm at in this whole working journey too. And then we'll be jumping into interviews each week. I hope that this will further inspire and keep shit real too, because it's not all roses out there. Really looking forward to sharing more with you this year. And now, over to Debi and Roger. Welcome to the I Work For Me podcast. This is Melina Lewis. And today I am going to be chatting to Debi and Roger Hawkins. Now, these are two amazing people because, yes, they're a couple. And also they work together, specifically on a project that I asked them to, which was the creation of my audiobook for my first book called After You Died. And I was really curious in understanding how they did this because it was done in deep lockdown when we weren't allowed to go anywhere or do anything. And I turned to Debi and said, Debi, please make this book into an audiobook. I love the sound of your voice. And she said, great, I have a Roger on hand, who is the technical genius and guru. And so they managed to make this happen. And I thought it would be amazing to unpack kind of working together as a couple and then how one kind of goes about making an audiobook. It's not just kind of sitting in front of a microphone and splab, splab, splab. And that's why I didn't do it myself. So without further ado, I welcome Debi and Roger. Hello, guys.
Mel?
How's it? How are you guys today?
After electronic issues, and we're fine.
That's okay.
I resisted throwing my computer against the wall, so we're online, which is lovely.
I feel like this is, a step in the right direction.
About 15 minutes ago when I walked in here, the air was kind of blue.
I think purple is the color we're looking for.
A bruised purple.
It was not pretty.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think there's something in the air today because, as I was saying to Debs earlier, the back window of my car has gone down, but nay, it will never come back up. And so I'm driving around with my big empty window thing, and my children heard so much exemplary language, it was actually not even funny.
Well done. Lovely.
Yeah, so I think it's an electronic
and at the same time, I've just had to submit a major kind of a pitch document today, and it's in collaboration with a film production company in London. So I sent them the draft last night and they were very, very happy. And it's got to be in today, sort of close of play today. And Jazzy did all the artwork.
That's our daughter.
And so a nice little in-house thing. And we put this whole thing together and I sent it to them, they're happy. Then the guy phones me this afternoon and says, oh no, we've got all these changes. Can we do them? So Jazzy's taken the day off and has gone swanning around the city. So I said, oh, no, no problem. I'm sure I can figure it out. But she was using software that I've never used before. So I was next door, also coloring the hair blue, trying to get this thing to do what I wanted it to do. But anyway, it's all good. I've got a cup of tea, and
I know.
And you've got, and she's got me.
Peace reigns supreme.
Peace reigns.
I'm so chuffed. So, I mean, you've just raised something. I mean, incredibly creative family, right? In terms of voice, well, 2 voices, if I'm not wrong, because Roger, I think I might have heard you sing in the song, and you know, instruments, and on stage, and now jazz in terms of her art. Tell us how this amazing creative family brings it all together in like a pitch deck.
Don't just laugh. You actually have to answer the questions because you can get cheeky.
we have to just sort of skip over that phrase that you used, brings it all together, because that's assuming quite a lot. But, you know, thank you for, you know, making it sound like it is together, because we just quickly move on. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's very handy having an in-house designer now, which helps. Jazzy, you know, she's just finished her graphic design last week, so I'll have to start paying her.
Yeah, we will.
She's qualified.
Oh dear.
Anyway.
Well, then you could.
No, we don't pay. No. If you work for the family, there's no pay. I'll bet you didn't get paid when you worked in the shoe store with your folks, Mel.
I did.
You did, you bugger. You did.
Yes.
Hey.
I was a casual. Other casuals got paid. So yeah, I'm afraid. However, I probably was underage for quite a while. So it was a good thing, you know, just keep me quiet as well. So yeah. But now let's just kind of come back to audiobook creation. So was this something you guys had done before?
I had done just the voice for another company. I had actually won an award, which was quite amusing, because I don't think anyone's ever heard of that award before. It's called the Golden Earphones Award. So yes, I was just phoned by someone in Fishhook who has a sound studio there, and he said, I really need your voice. Can you do this? He didn't say anything about the book. I just said yes, which is my standard answer. Can you do this? Yes. And then I start freaking out. Oh, how much do I charge? Oh, how do you do this again? But anyway, I just pretty much say yes, I can to all the questions, all the above. And he gave me the book, and I can't remember putting that much effort into it. Not as much as I did for yours, Mel, because suddenly it came down to, oh, this is my friend. But yeah, it's long hours, but he did all the editing. He was in his, he had all his little things to twiddle and make it all sound good at the very end. And I just sat inside the booth and did what I had to do. I'd never done it before. It's very tiring. And there were accents in it. So then I actually went back to my notes, and I saw when you called me, and it was the middle of April this year, in like deep lockdown, as you say. And you just, I told you this, it was a little bit of a strange thing where I had written your name down to phone you to find out how you were. And then I crossed it out and thought, I'm not going to bother Mel. And then you sent me this little note. Oh, silly, strange question. Have you ever narrated a book before? And I went, what? So yeah, so that I had done it once before, and it wasn't as long a book as yours, and it was a teen book, or what do you call it? Young adult, yeah, young adult fiction. So yes, I had done, but just from the voice side, but not the whole shebang like we did with you.
Right. Okay, cool. So, I mean, from your side, Rog, like, what was your role? So, okay, so Debs is sitting there using her voice, ta-da-da, in actress mode. And then what are you doing when you are creating an audiobook?
Not much.
Babes.
No, it's true. Just following on headphones, listening, and trying to pick up, the missed word or mispronounced word or so that.
Okay.
And making sure the levels are okay.
Right.
So,
and then at the
Yeah,
end-
so sorry. So yeah, because prior to even getting into the studio, one has to read the book. Luckily, I had already read your book, which helped, but read through, get the general feeling of it. From my point of view, anyway, was to know that, to work out. We weren't very strict with how long we recorded for, and we ended up, because we had the whole family at home, which was quite interesting, and noisy and all the rest. We could just handle. I think the longest we did was about an hour and a half at a time before someone needed us. And the studio's in the loft up there, so we could sort of close the two interleading doors. But there's always someone who breaks through, the barriers, catches you in the middle of something. But yeah, so I did that, and then you gave me. I asked for character notes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And themes and all that kind of thing, and then we end up in the studio, and yeah, Roger's listening all the time, and trying to keep that. I wouldn't understand how to do all that, but he has to keep all the levels the same so that I don't. And I have a very sibilant voice, apparently.
Oh my word!
I make a lot.
Because I was going to
You're
say
supposed to not do that too much, but I have a sibilant voice, so I have to watch that. And I'm way more of a perfectionist in these kinds of things than Roger is. Well, obviously, because it's my voice and I'm wanting to be as perfect as it can be. So I'm often going, can we do that again? Can we do that again? He said, it was fine. No, I want to do it again. There was a lot of that.
Okay. So, I mean, how many hours does like a book like that take?
Okay, so from Debi's notes, query mid-April, May and June we recorded, and Roger spent the first 2 weeks of July editing and cutting, and he would do a bit of an edit, listen through, edit things. I don't know, he can explain that, and then I'd listen to it, the whole book again, and then I'd give it back to him, and then he did the final edit by the middle of July.
Wow.
So as I said, we tried to do as many days per week as we could, but that's basically, so it's that from the query to the end was 4 months, but we only worked on it for 2. Is that right? 4? I can't even know. 3 months. 2.5 was actual work, as in like what we were doing, and that was 10.5 hours of 10.5 hours.
Finished recording. Yeah.
Finished recording, 10.5.
Wow. Okay, so the editing took 10.5 hours. Is that right, Rog?
So the editing,
probably more.
Well, there was probably, I think it was sort of 10.5 hours of finished audio.
Oh, product. Yes. Yeah, the book is about 10.5 hours long. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was probably about 20 hours of stuff we'd recorded that had to be cleaned up.
Wow.
Lots of different takes and little clearing their throat and this and that.
Yeah.
So that, I don't know, that took me about a week.
Yeah, and then what did you just do? Was that a sneeze?
Sneeze. I'm so sorry. I was trying so hard. I sneezed, but I'm on my own in my little cottage, so it's fine.
We can't catch COVID through the computer.
Thank goodness.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, this is an extensive amount of time. I would say, like, if you say, okay, 20 working days, about an hour a day, and say 2 months, minimum of like 40 hours of recording time, let's say, for example, then a whole bunch of, editing time to get a finished product. Like, yeah, you're looking at like 40 to 60 hours worth of effort, hey? So not to be sneezed.
Something in that region, yeah.
Yeah. So, wow, guys, thank you.
It was fun, Mel. It was actually I actually really enjoyed the project because, sorry, I'm uncomfortable. We haven't worked that closely together for a long time on one project, just the two of us.
Right.
since our play. And then once you'd written it, I sort of took it away from that fold of the two of us. So it was, a lot of very intensive work together. And we don't irritate each other too much. We're okay.
No.
He's got a tick.
No, he looked very genuinely like okay with that. I think he was happy with that statement. It wasn't an untrue statement, I don't think. I mean, so what were some of the challenges in terms of, so you've said things like, okay, you've got a certain amount, one, it's exhausting, two, someone's going to come crashing in because, hey, it's lockdown and there's like 3 kids in your house. What are some of the other challenges that you found in the creation of this product?
Challenges,
technical or otherwise?
Oh no, well, technical here because we were just recording it at home. It's not a soundproof studio,
right?
So we had a lot of dogs barking and bird noises and Gabriel's basketball. All of those little sounds would come through.
So we tried not to record on a Monday because on a Monday it's bin day. And then all the people yanking their bins up and down their driveways. That was a fun one. And then that starts all the dogs because all the bin pickers were out. And then the vacuum cleaner and blah, blah, blah. So Monday was not a good day. So that was normally our day off. And the bird one was a funny one because we're in a thatched house and you can hear the birds through the thatch. And they're only about 1 meter from your head. Because we're right in the eaves of the house. So yeah, there was a lot of cleaning up of the sound. That was was your big job. That was the biggest job for Roger, cleaning the sound. And I don't have better ears than him. I kind of do. You have better.
What's that?
He has better. You have better eyes. He's got the eyes and I've got the ears. But I would pick up things that he missed, and that's why we actually worked quite well together. So he had issue. He would say, "Okay, this is clean. Give it to me," and I would sit with the book again, listening to myself, which I've got to tell you is like the first level of hell, and just myself over and over and over. And maybe I should have done that differently. Anyway, and then I would pick up something, and then I'd have to time. What do you call it? Time code it, and then I bring my piece of paper with colorful time codes written all over it and say, we need to check this time code, this, and then I'd write a time code and go, pigeons, dogs, and that kind of fun stuff. So that was, and they were all in different colors because I was coloring in while I was listening. They were quite pretty. Another one that was fun, I've got to tell you, this is the best part of the whole thing. Mel's very, very. Are we allowed to talk about some of the scenes? We won't say what happened in them.
I was going to say, like, what were the interesting surprises?
So the surprises were not surprises to me so much as to my husband, who was listening in the headphones, and I was going, "There's a sex scene coming in the next page. What am I going to do with that one?" Because let's say that they were quite explicit. Melina Lewis, not all of them.
Not all of them.
No. They're not things that you really want to be saying in front of your children. And it was very funny to say them in front of your husband. So I almost had to sort of put something in front of I just didn't want to be saying this because of that. You see that? That's all. And if he started like that, that would be me finished. So I'd have to, as soon as it was the sex scenes, I'd have to turn my body like this, change the whole mic thing, breathe out and get into character. And I said, Roger, if you look at me or you make a sound or you move, you're going to stuff this up. I have to hold it together. It was really crazy that. You see, just giggles.
A very serious business.
Sex is very serious.
Very serious. Very serious subject, good old sex. Oh my goodness. Oh, Debs, well, I'm so sorry that I did that to you, but you dug deep and you managed. So it's fun. And Raj was entertained. Clearly, he's still grinning.
He was enjoying it. I'll tell you one thing, that the reason that I found it quite tiring, and I honestly past an hour and a half. It's because what you're doing is, when you're in a play, generally you're only one character, and unless it's some mad like shortened version of Shakespeare or something, you're in that character, and that's where you sit, and the energy of that character. So you're physically being that character, but you're also vocally and verbally and all that. Now when you've suddenly got to create that character without your body, and just through the dialogue. And then in dialogue, you're changing characters. So I would have to really slip in and out of those characters as quickly as they came, but sometimes I really, really battled to do that because I wanted to stay with one of the characters, and I'm not able to. I have to keep changing. Some of the energy used for each one of those characters as they came and went was very difficult. Not very difficult, but it was a challenge, put it that way. I found that the most tiring, having to be that many, and also because that's why I wanted to truncate the recording time, because I didn't want to lose who if I recorded Tsepo there, and now it's 2 weeks later, and then I've got to record him again, and I've kind of lost him a bit.
Yes.
The sound of him and the feel of him, and then suddenly, then I have to go back and listen again and go, oh yeah, okay. So that was quite tiring, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was such a great challenge, such a great job.
Okay.
Should we do another one?
Yeah. There's one coming. So I wanted to ask then, so then because the book is done in those 7 chapters, the kind of the stages of grief, and then each character within a stage, and then so then did you record Tsepo in chapter 1 and then skip everybody else and then go Tsepo in chapter 2, and then did you record it no, did you go through them all and then chapter 2 and then go through them all again? Okay. Sure. Okay.
I wanted to I never even thought about doing that. I wanted it to roll with how people would listen to it,
right,
and how you wrote it. But in fact, I don't know how you wrote it, but that kind of felt right.
No. I did. I'm one of those, I kind of like plod all the way through. I can't jump around there's enough jumping around like a monkey in here. So
no kidding.
So would you guys ever do it again? Would you go on a kind of a voice-overy or kind of audiobook journey again?
No, me totally. Oh yeah, that's fun. That's like just diving in and doing something from beginning to end is such an amazing feeling, because you created something, Melina, and then we created another package, and I quite enjoyed that. I quite enjoyed creating a package from beginning to end. And I kind of feel like maybe what we should have been doing is using Roger's talents as a musician, and
we should have.
I don't know, using not necessarily incidental music or anything, but maybe, and sort of like, what do you call it? Intros and outro music.
No, Roger,
but something
earlier. Roger, honestly, no, but that would have been.
We'll do your next book as a Bollywood musical.
Oh, yes.
I'd like, or a Nollywood one even. Ooh,
Nollywood.
African theme.
But then you can't see us dancing, so.
I know. Yeah, all right. And then.
Yeah, I kind of. That would be nice.
Okay, great. So I wanted to ask you, are you guys avid audiobook listeners?
I am. I've listened to a lot. Roger reads Kindle, but you haven't really done audiobooks, eh? No. I do. Because I've spent quite a bit of time in the car with collection of children and that. And also, when we used to drive from Zimbabwe to South Africa, we found tapes, audio tapes, book tapes, and we listened to quite a few of those. Those were quite fun. So yeah, early in our marriage, we used to do that. And obviously with the kids and that, we used to play in the car. Yes. But no, I'm avid reader. Yes. Avid can't put down my books person. Yes.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Audiobooks.
I think it's a great thing, though. I mean, there's so many people will not sit still long enough to read a book. I can't understand it myself, but I know that is where most of my friends who aren't ready people or righty people, they will only listen on their headphones when they, I don't know, walking or housework or whatever. Lots of people do it. Don't you find that, Mel?
Yeah, no, look, I'm a huge fan. We also, for road trips, I love doing.
Yeah, it's such fun.
Yeah, we did like The Hobbit when we went to the Kalahari. So that's a long enough trip.
Nice.
So yeah, so you got to get one of those long epic stories, you know, to take you off into the great beyond. So I think they're fantastic. I think audiobooks are amazing, especially for kids. If you've got a child who's not a keen reader, I think they're great for that. Yeah. So before we kind of end off, I just wanted to get from you guys, in terms of, if you can just tell me a little bit about all the things that you do, Debs, and then all the things that you do, Rog, you know, and then how people can get hold of you.
You can start.
I work in film and television, animation. We produce a kids show called Jabu's Jungle, and I write and direct other things when I can. So that's me. But when we first got married, I had a little audio studio called the Audio Garage in our little garage, which was how we were paying the rent then. So I've done, you know, I had done quite a lot of studio work, and you know, still had a basic setup here. So I've still kept it, you know, all the audio stuff, because it's fun, and it's often useful to be able to record stuff and do things like that. So we've got this little studio upstairs, up in the thatch.
In the thatch.
Yeah, the pigeons. Yeah. So Roger also writes music and plays a couple of instruments and growls away into the microphone from time to time. A great writer of lyrics, and is actually writing his memoir at the moment, I might tell you.
What?
Oh yeah. Don't make a funny face, because he's written way more words than I have.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he's got some serious talent. Me, on the other hand, do not play instruments, but I do play my vocal cords and love to sing. Yes.
Yes, you do.
I do. So I sing, and I'm an actress, and I do voiceover work, and I'm looking for voiceover work at the moment, seeing as it's the best and sort of most COVID-proof work for performers at the moment. So yeah, and me, I'm very old-fashioned, so you can only find me on, where can you find me? Oh, my email address, which is debi@umoyafilms.com, which is UMOYA films.com, and Roger is roger@umoyafilms.com. And I have a Facebook page called Drama Queen Debi. That's where I just I have to have pretty pictures of theaters and people doing shows, and I review plays there and talk about all those kinds of wonderful things, which are going to come back again. Please, God.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's sort of my background. So I have an agent, and have done some TV work, lots of theater work, and that's me.
Divine.
He's a director for hire, so anybody want to hire Roger?
Director for hire. You should have that on the side of your car, you know, director. With that like little chair, you know, that directors always
there
have.
We go.
I've given
I'll
you.
come and sit in my chair and watch TV all day, and you can pay me lots of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what directors do? I'm sure that's what they do.
Yeah.
I don't do anything.
Cool, guys. Well, thank you. It's been awesome in terms of, so for me, selfishly, to understand exactly the trials and tribulations of making an audiobook, because I kind of had the delusional concept and idea that I would actually just do this audiobook lark thing myself. You know, I just like record it off my computer and slice it up on, I don't know, iMovie and submit, And then I kind of started reading page 1 and I went, no. This is, no. Not how this works.
Yeah.
And I listened to a few books that were on audiobooks, and I thought, no, I really don't know what I'm doing here. It's time to outsource to the pros. So thank you for taking on my project. I think the audiobook is fantastic, and people can get it.
So glad.
Yeah, so thank you guys for a beautiful professional product, and I wish you all the best, and Merry Christmas.
Same to you.
Thank you, Mel.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the I Work For Me podcast. I hope you enjoyed this interview and that you feel inspired to take your idea and business to the next level, not only for yourself, but for fellow South Africans too. Please listen in weekly for interviews with more interviews with South Africa's most inspiring people, and connect with me on Facebook or Instagram at Melina Lewis Author, or on YouTube at Melina Lewis, or if you don't mind, consider supporting the show for a few rand a month by finding me on Patreon at Melina Lewis. Have a great week and namaste.